Hey friends, welcome back. This video we're going to review the Runna app. Those of you who don't want to stay around for the whole video, hope you do. Yes, the app is worth it. Download it now. It's brilliant. The Runna app is essentially a running app which allows you to have personalized training plans. So if you're going to sign up to an event, you can download the app, search for an event that it can be running events or Ironman events are in there. Anytime in the future, it'll find that event and then it'll ask you a number of questions, your current personal best times, etc., etc. And it'll basically create a plan for you for the duration of that period, depending on what sort of plan you want, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or like an elite runner. It's good in the fact that if you're progressing through your plan and often you're overperforming, so you're finding it quite easy, you're going ahead of the stats they say in the app, so say you're running a little bit quicker, the app will adjust your future workouts to make them a little bit harder or longer so that you're actually training to performance basically for the whole time. One of the things I like about the Runna app is its ability to integrate with other apps, things like Garmin Connect. So let's say you've got a Tuesday, you're doing an interval session on the Runna app. You can download it onto the Garmin Connect, search for it on your watch, press play and do that workout. The only thing with that is that often, say in an interval session on Runna, you'll have gaps of rest. It could be like run 0.5 miles at a 7-minute mile, then rest 20 seconds, and then do the same thing again. And it tells you on the watch, stop, it beeps and says rest, it counts it down to 20 seconds. The issue is, once you've done that workout that day, you stop it, save it, it uploads to Strava, you'll see that it looks like you've been running slower than you have because it doesn't deduct the rest periods. So if you're in the pool and you're doing drill sessions, it's the same principle. You'll have like essentially rests, but your overarching time is correct as opposed to adding on the things that make you look slower. Because the only thing, I'm sure there's a way that they could stop that from happening, but it did frustrate me a bit. So I stopped downloading it on the watch and I just did it in my head. So I would go, right, hit it, count it down in my head, or I'd look at the watch time and do it, as opposed to downloading the actual workout. It's something that was a little bit annoying, but you work with it sort of thing. Entering 2024, I had like a New Year's goal. I wanted to run a sub 3-hour marathon. Having previously only ran a 3.5-hour marathon using no training plans, I knew it was possible, but I thought a structured plan after talking to people was the way to go. So I went online, looked at different things. I'm not really interested in PDF plans. I thought it just wasn't my thing. And I stumbled across Runna, I think it was through social media, downloaded it, put all the details in, created a plan and thought, you know what, I'll follow it. And it said I'd do it in, say, just under 3 hours. As I started to follow the plan throughout, it brought that time down. I think it was like 2:54, maybe it was 2:53, my target time at the very end of the marathon. I actually completed the Paris marathon and I think my official time was like 2:55, but I actually ran a marathon in 2:54 because Paris marathon was quite wide. I was running obviously at a wider part of the course and therefore my time cumulative for the event was 2:55, still brilliant time. And I credit my sub 3-hour marathon with using the Runna app. My first impression of downloading the app was pretty good, to be honest. There's a video I've done previously when I downloaded it for this event and I screen share going through downloading it like the first time. Worth checking out if you're interested. Basically asks you a number of questions about your current PBs, the event, etc. and then it creates the overarching plan. I felt overall the app's pretty damn user friendly. There's a couple of things I didn't know about till at least halfway through, which seem obvious, I suppose, looking back, but at the time I didn't know. Let's say you've got 4 runs a week, a Monday, a Tuesday, a Thursday and a Friday. You can't do your Friday one and you want to, say, move it. I didn't realise that I think you can like pull it down and move it to another day or switch them out, which would have been helpful to know. I just didn't know that at the time because so what I was doing was just essentially saying, ticking it's completed even if I hadn't done it. So I think I missed 2 runs over the whole time. So I really did stick to it. And I think that's a credit to why I did hit the target at the end and surpass my expectations. Looking at the training plans, you've got things like beginner, intermediate, advanced and say elite. I've only clicked on the elite one. I haven't done the others, but I presume they're all the same. And I only pick delete because I was like, I really want to try and do well, so I'll pick the thing and then I'll just try and train as hard as I can and meet the expectations of the app. One thing about the training plans that's really good is that when it says easy run, it doesn't just give you overarching easy run, it's the details that matter. So it'll tell you whether you've got to warm up for say 2 miles and then at what pace you're doing and if you're cooling down, etc. Same for intervals. And that's like the most important bit. It doesn't just say intervals, it gives you the breakdown of each one. I found that really handy. I did find the app really hard to follow on a treadmill. So outside, much easier, whether this is as personal, but on a treadmill, really difficult. So I did intervals on a treadmill once, a couple of times actually, and it was brutal. I barely managed to do it. I don't know why that is, whether just running on a treadmill is harder, who knows. I don't really know what happens when you miss a run on the app, whether that run is like say added on to the future runs or whether it's just gone completely. I'm not quite sure about that. You can either click completed or you can leave it in the app. There's lots of other things in the app to do with, say you've done a run, they'll give you like videos and some written feedback and also like recovery and videos, so you want to do stretching. I didn't use any of that. Maybe that's wasted and I should have done. I just didn't have the time in the day and I sort of had to have a good system for myself. When I first downloaded the app, I experienced a few issues with it not uploading to Strava, so say it'd be completed on the app, and I think I did a couple on there, and it just wasn't showing up. It was really frustrating. But I messaged through the app to like the customer support, said this is what's happening, and very quickly someone got back to me within like a day or 2 days, said they were looking into it. And then somehow all of a sudden it did start working. I never had that issue again. So that's the only niggle I had with syncing. Looking at my sort of training as a whole then by using the app, I did stick to the plans. I did 60 runs, so there was 62 runs in total for my duration of my plan. I missed 2 of them. Every single one I did, I more or less did bang on to what the stats said, although it was really challenging at times. It wasn't necessarily easy, especially the interval stuff. I was really struggling. But if you want to get that time, and that's what you've got to do, and you're willing to commit to the app and train hard and do it, you will achieve the result that you intended for at the end. So as we got towards the marathon, I was very confident that I would get close to 3 hours. I thought wasn't quite sure how I'd get on, and I did, which was fantastic. The longest run I did on my Runner app was 21 or 22 miles. The issue with this was, when I did the event, obviously it's 26.2 miles full marathon, and I really struggled from mile 21 to 26, like really struggled. I was absolutely on my knees. I attribute that to having not trained at that distance, whether that's correct or not. But in the future, what I will do is I will make my longest runs longer so that it's more realistic on the day. Because if you've trained at 25 miles, you're going to be far better off than if you only done 21. And I think I would actually have got a faster time overall had I done those extra miles in training. That's the only niggle. I'm not sure why. It'd be great to understand why they build it in like that. There's obviously some rationale, but for me personally, that's the only thing I would change. I felt that was something that wasn't right for me personally. Having historically, when I've run events before, I would always train as close as I could to the final sort of mileage so that it's more realistic. And when you get in, you're like, well, I've done this in training, and you can keep that pace. Because 5 miles is a bloody long way when you're absolutely knackered. One thing I really liked was just how easy it was to follow. You've had a long day at work, you're like, quickly open the app, this is what I'm doing today. Brilliant, tells you what to do, off you go. I didn't have to put any effort into it in terms of what I was thinking about what I was going to do. I knew in advance, I could move the days. It's very intuitive and very easy to use, and I really liked that. The only thing that did annoy me a bit was if you download a plan, at the bottom of the plan it has a bit of writing. I think it will be like head coach or a coach, and it'll be like, hey, such great job. It's great, but the trouble is when obviously they're massive now, it's all automated, it didn't feel as personable. So saying, hey, Edward, my name on the app, well done, blah, blah, blah. That's one thing that I didn't really buy into that too much. I'd rather have some more like statistics or things that would help me. I'm less interested in that type of thing, because obviously if you're writing in the app for help, it's not them who are coming back to you. So I think there could be improvements there. Looking at the price of the app, you've got two options. You can pay monthly for it, which is brilliant, or you can do an annual plan, which is like £99. There's loads of codes online, which you get you like 2 weeks free, which is fantastic. I think it was about £16 a month, which I think is fairly reasonable for a plan like that. One thing that really bugs me though is I've just downloaded the plan again because I thought, you know what, I'm doing my Ironman in September. I'm going to follow my running part. I'm going to use the Runna app because it helped me so much on my previous marathon. Why wouldn't I use that again? It's been fantastic. I tried to put a referral code in to get 2 weeks free again, but because I've downloaded the app previously and paid for a subscription, I wasn't allowed to use my code. I thought that was a bit frustrating, the fact that if you've already used the app and paid for it for a year, surely you should have a code for 2 weeks if you're going to do it again in the future over people who've never used it before. Just a personal thing. I think that little things like that just annoyed me a bit because, you know, you want people to stay in the app. It's a nice little gesture. As I've said before, I haven't tried any other running apps, so it's really hard to compare this against other ones. But I did look at downloading TriDots, like a triathlon type plan, similar type thing to Runna, but it's more for triathlons. I just thought it was awful. I went on their website, downloaded it, it was just terrible, so I cancelled it immediately. So that's one good thing about Runna. I suppose it is a very easy app, very easy to use app, and very intuitive. And the reason I used Runna was because there was a real focus on building personalised plans that are tailored to you. And I think that's like their USP. I notice now they're doing lots of other things, which is great. But when I'm thinking Runna personally, I'm thinking personalised plans, creating me the best plan, gets me to the goal. So as a consumer, I want them to like double down on that, make it better. That's the area I'm looking at. I don't really care about merch or loads of other stuff. Runna to me, if you can become the best at it, amazing. I'll stick with you. It's fantastic. There's a couple of things that I would like to see added to the app. So when you go through Runna, it took me a little while to find it on the app. Essentially, there's like an icon that gives you a score, I believe, out of 1,000, and it's basically saying how well you're doing relative to how fit you are, if I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I would really like to compete, or be able to compete with other members of the Runna app. So let's say there was 100 people using the Runna app for Paris Marathon. How did I compare to those 100 people? Like that to me is like, I would love that. I'd be using it all the time for training and stuff. It could be like who's run the most miles in the year using the Runna app, who's the quickest times. You've got categories and age groups. That thing would be amazing. You've got like more competition because most people doing sport are obviously quite competitive as a whole, and it'd just be really cool to see how you're getting on. It almost would make you more want to do the training because you'd be like, crumbs, I'm actually not too far away. Maybe if I tried a little bit harder or did X, I could, you know, climb up the league tables. Maybe you could have prizes for certain things. I think that'd be a fantastic way to improve the app, increase usability, and people would just love it. I think that's a really good feature. If you could do it, I would love you to do it. My overall experience of the app has been great. I really like it, hence why I'm downloading it again. I wouldn't use something if I didn't think it was that good. I would 100% recommend it to others. So during my time when I was using the app back in the beginning of last year, I recommended it to so many people. And I attribute my sub 3 hour marathon in Paris 100% to the Runna app. Historically, I would say I've done a lot of running. I've run 3,000 miles cumulatively at least before using the app. I'd say I was a pretty good runner, but I'd never really got that fast, and it genuinely made me quicker and hit the targets. I put in I wanted to run sub 3 hours, and I ran sub 3 hours. One thing I don't get is how did Strava let this happen? If you think about it, incredible app Strava. Everybody's on Strava who does any type of sport. How on earth did they let Runna get the market share they've got now? I just don't get it. Amazes me. They're asleep at the wheel. One thing is Strava is excellent in terms of tracking my activities, seeing what other people are doing in all types of events, and I love that, and it does it really well. Everyone I know is on there. It's sort of like the first mover advantage. People, because everyone's on there, probably less likely to leave. It seems to me that if you go into the Runna app and you click on stuff, they've got like dashboards similar to Strava. Obviously, it's great and all, but I'm not really using the Runna app to see that sort of stuff because I get that all from Strava. So it's almost like duplication. So what I really want to see from Runna is focusing more on the plans and less about like providing dashboards and things like that, because it's going up to Strava anyway, syncing to Strava. I personally don't look at any of that in the Runner app. I'm sure it's helpful, but I think Strava do that really well anyway. That's not what I came to Runner for. I came to Runner for these tailored plans and to improve my running. And I think Runner does a fantastic job at creating plans and getting people running, hitting their goals. So if they just keep doing that and get better at it, I will 100% use it. I would encourage everyone to use the Runner app. I think it's for everybody, whether you're just starting to get into running and your goal is to get your first 5K. I think having a structured plan will help you tremendously. If not, it's just accountability. It takes a lot of the work out and stress in the day. I think it's great. So I think for that type of people, fantastic. Equally for those of you who are trying to improve your times or have got different events, like I'm going to incorporate it in my Ironman training now, and I credit my sub 3 hour marathon in Paris to using the Runner app. So 100% brilliant app, highly recommend. I know some people in my audience messaged me when I was doing like my weekly vlogs, talking about my training and showing the app each week, saying would I recommend it, and I said yes, 100%. If any of you have used it, what's your thoughts on the app? Drop a comment in below. I'd love to see what you thought was good about the app, what you thought was bad, and would you recommend it to other people. That's essentially my review of the Runner app. Highly recommend.